Hello and welcome to this episode of Effective Websites. In this video, you'll be introduced to the various resources you'll need to create your web page. So let's take a look around. Before beginning, let me give you a little encouragement and say something that you've already heard me say before. You don't have to be at all tech savvy to use these tools. We'll show you what you need to know and when you need to know it. And in many instances, you're going to use these things once, and then you have our permission to forget them. Second, most of the resources mentioned here are free, as in they really don't cost you anything. There are no hidden strings or later costs. We found them to be very useful and would simply like to pass them on to you. Even if you decide to go with another service, you're still welcome to download and use these. We aren't going to go into great details on how to use them right now. That's all covered by member videos later on. Again, we'll show you what you need to know when you need to know it. Now, that being said, look where it says Free Printable Worksheets. These are arranged pretty much in the order that you'll want to work. If you figure out your menu first, you're going to find it will do two things. First, it will help you determine which template will work best for you. But it'll also save you a lot of hours of work by taking care of this menu before you do anything else on your web page. As hard as this may be for you to understand right now, one of the more challenging things about creating a great website is not the technology. You can get that out of your head. In most instances, it's the menu. So in this worksheet, we include all the most important considerations for you. Categories will be the next most challenging thing that you do. Like virtually all of our worksheets, these are both fillable and downloadable. You'll want to download lots of these and use one for every article you're planning to publish. Notice that like all worksheets, everything of importance has been included. This is where you determine how all of your articles are going to appear throughout your website. These are our recommended settings. We'll explain why as we go along. Your new website is going to be nearly infinitely customizable. A large part of that is due to something called modules. They're things like search, login, contact forms, maps, and the like. Your task will be to decide which modules to include or exclude, what style you'd like them to be, and where you'd like them to appear throughout your web page. This will help. Again, we're going to go into more detail in our videos, but for now, let me just say that this is how you fill out your initial settings. You see these little icons at the top of every page? This is called a Favicon. We'll show you how to make a Favicon, where to copy and paste it so that your logo or favicon appears where it's supposed to, and talk about other considerations with favicons that you're going to find pretty helpful. We're going to skip over WordPad and Notepad for right now. These are text editors. We'll talk about why they're handy to use in the videos where we address articles. We're going to skip over this except to say that Joomla now has over 10,000 various modules to choose from, most of which are free. Examples being things like JCE Editor, a text editor that makes working within your web page feel more like you're working on your word processor. There are backup forms, forums, mass mail possibilities, maps, news tickers, PlayPal buttons, and the like. We're also going to pass over talking about Chrome, Firebug, and Dropbox for right now, because we address those in later videos as well. But let's just spend a moment with Pixlr. It's a great little online photo editor that's free. By and large, it'll do whatever you really need it to do. If you're on a limited budget and don't want to pay for photo editing software, this is a really great place to start. Sourceforge is a great place to download all sorts of free open source software. You'll be using it to download two very useful programs. Filezilla, an FTP program, which stands for File Transfer Protocol program, which is really just a fancy way of saying it's a program that helps you move your files back and forth between your computer and your web host's server. And also this one, KeePass. KeePass is a password saver that's so useful that even if you decide to use nothing else, you'll want to use this one. Audacity is a sound editing program. It may be that you want to include MP3s at some future point in your website. We're going to gloss over this for right now because that's more of an advanced topic that we'll cover in later videos. Okay, that takes care of the free stuff. However, there are a couple of things you're just going to have to bite the bullet and pay for. You're going to need a dependable, high-quality company to host your website. We like and use Bluehost, but you can choose whoever you want, and a couple of our favorites are up there. And you're going to need a high-quality template that gives you plenty of support. More than any other single thing, you want to make sure that you get this right and your host company right the very first time. But if you get this right, you're going to save a lot of time later. You'll notice that we've included a few of our favorites for both web hosting and web template companies. You're not going to go wrong with any of these. You'll also notice that there are some optional resources that are mentioned. If you want a complete listing of books, software, and the other tools we use, you can click on Amazon and see a whole list. A couple of things very quickly before closing. First, and most importantly, you don't have to be a techie to create a web page. With the technology, most of the time, you're going to use it once, and then you can forget it. There will be some things that you use all the time, but then you always have these videos to fall back on. Given the tools and a little time and training, you'll discover you can build a terrific website, even though you might have absolutely no technical abilities. Well, that concludes this episode of gathering the resources that you'll need. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.